Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity of Gainesville. I'm Don Nickel. I'll be at the keyboard today, and we're very fortunate to have our own Reverend Danny Spears, who's going to be delivering our message today. But let's get going and get things moving, and let's do I Am Free, I Am Unlimited. Remember that one? Why don't y'all stand up? I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now. I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now. Again, let's pick it up. I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now. I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now.
As a spiritual being, I am always free. I remember this at those moments I feel at the mercy of an unpredictable world. While I may not be able to control what happens around me, I can take comfort knowing I don't need to. I am free to choose my response, but even more, I'm free to meet life from my divinity, the breath of my spiritual power. In prayer, I claim divine ideas. I use my gift of imagination to envision the life I wish to live and the gift of will to make choices to bring it about. I speak affirmations to raise my consciousness and help create conditions for my highest and best outcome to manifest. I find precious freedom realizing that life doesn't happen to me, life happens through me. So if the Son makes you free, you will be free indeed. John 8:36. You can request prayer by going to the cell phone app store and downloading the app You Pray, UpPray. Your prayer will be sent directly to Silent Unity, where it will be held in prayer for an additional 30 days. We also have a prayer team that would be happy to pray with you. Please leave your prayer requests by either calling the church office and leaving a message or placing your prayer request in our prayer box. Following the church service, any prayer chaplain wearing a prayer stole will be happy to meet with you for individual prayer. Please join me now in praying for those who have requested prayer during this sacred time in our service. You may speak their names now. All prayers, whether spoken or unspoken, are now known by the divine. As we release this heartfelt request, we know and affirm that all is in divine order, and we say, thank you, God. Amen.
And now let's do our opening song, Let There Be Love. And we've done this before, and we're going to start with Let There Be Love, then we'll sing it a second time with Let There Be Peace, and then we'll go back and sing it a third time with Let There Be Love. So here's your intro. love shared among us. Let there be love in our eyes. May now your love sweep this nation and keep our hearts open wide. Give us a fresh understanding, a genuine love that is real. Let there be love shared among us. Let there be love. Let there be peace shared among us. Let there be peace in our eyes. May now your peace sweep this nation and keep our heart open wide. Give us a fresh understanding, a genuine peace that is real. Let there be peace shared among us. Let there be peace. Let there be love shared among us. Let there be love in our eyes. May now your love sweep this nation and keep our hearts open wide. Give us a fresh understanding, a genuine love that is near. Let there be love shared among us. Let there be love.
Y'all did great.
Thank you, Don. Always a pleasure to have you with us. Always. So good morning, everyone. So here we are. It's 4th of July weekend. It's a time of celebration, commemorating the signing of the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, 1776, when the 13 colonies declared their independence from British rule. It's meant to be a fun time, a celebratory time with parties and picnics and fireworks, baseball games, and of course, all those political candidates reminding us that we should vote for them, because it's only them and their party who will protect our precious freedoms from those other guys who are trying to restrict those freedoms. Yeah, I don't know about you, but Richard and I have already just about worn out the mute button on our remote, muting all those political commercials. But I digress. To be fair, for all our complaining and for all our squabbling, the United States is by and large a wonderful country, right? We enjoy quite a few freedoms that many other countries do not. We're free to criticize our government leaders, law enforcement, educational systems, and other political structures, and we do so frequently, and sometimes with the volume turned all the way up. Unfortunately, some folks think that that particular freedom extends to harassing groups with whom they disagree and even to political and physical violence, and it does not. We can pretty much move freely about our country when we can afford the gas, that is. The gas is coming down. We saw it at Keithsbridge Road and 369 for $3.99 a gallon. Guess where we're stopping on our way home to Canton? Yeah. And yes, inflation is a serious challenge. Yet I've seen some news stories lately about inflation and gas prices and so forth. So if you look at other countries, relatively speaking, yeah, it's tough here, but we're not doing that bad. I'm also thankful for the freedom to practice any religion or combinations thereof that I choose or not. I love Unity's teachings of many paths and one God, and I especially love our teachings that each and every one of us is an expression of God, even those people whose commercials and speeches we mute on our televisions. They're expressions of God too. In other words, as we've said here before, there is no real separation, only that which we create in our minds, through our actions, and usually out of some form of fear. So freedom of religion is great. Freedom from religion can be great. You know, the challenge, I believe, is when some of our more powerful and usually quite conservative Christian siblings, who have government influence, by the way, insist that civil laws be based in accordance with their particular beliefs, whether we agree or not. So again, while I do believe in the oneness of all creation, we also can't deny the manifestations of separation we see in our world. This weekend, we celebrate our independence, or our Declaration of Independence, from what our ancestors saw as oppressive rule on multiple levels. And I think it's great that they did that. You know, a lot of people have, and some people continue to give and put their lives on the line to protect our fragile democracy. At the same time, people like Fannie Lou Hamer, Emma Lazarus, Maya Angelou, and Martin Luther King Jr. have all been quoted in various ways as saying, until all of us are free, none of us are free. So looking around today, seeing everything that we see and everything that we notice on television and social media, I ask the question, just how free are we? Really? How do we work toward freedom for all creation? Because let's face it, folks, this whole us versus them approach is not working. Now, I believe the process of freedom for all creation starts with each and every one of us, and it starts in here with each of us freeing our minds. So let's get started. Now, we can't talk about freedom, and especially on this particular weekend, and especially after that opening I gave you, can't talk about freedom without using the P word, politics. Dun, dun, dun. And I know I have to be careful because I've been told that Unity as a whole is non-political, and that Unity of Gainesville in particular is a non-political campus. So let me clear up that misconception right away. We are political, folks, whether we realize it or not. Now, how in the world can I say that? Just bear with me for a minute here. Polis, P-O-L-I-S, polis, from which the word politics comes, originally referred to an administrative and religious city-state in Greece. It refers to how we organize our community life. You know, things like laws, bylaws, policies and procedures, voting on various issues, voting on who gets to lead us, who gets to make the decisions, budgets, and other decisions, stuff like that. And we do that in Unity. Even Unity has rules. I know you might be shocked, but we've got rules. And we do that at Unity of Gainesville, too. We even have rules here, don't we, Joe? Oh, yeah. So, yeah, in that sense, we are political. Now, if when you say we're not political, you mean that we as a church do not endorse certain political candidates or political parties over others, if we don't call one political, party the second coming of Christ, and we describe the other guys as the incarnation of the Antichrist, if that's what you mean, then yes, in that respect, we are not political. Because when you start doing stuff like that, you violate your religious 501c3. So while I definitely have my opinions, as I'm sure each of you do, you won't hear that kind of political speech from this particular podium. so everybody can breathe. There you go. In a broad sense, however, life itself is political. We make all kinds of decisions about how we organize our lives, right? We decide what issues we support, what issues we don't. We choose how we vote, who we support, who we don't. We do that in Unity of Gainesville. We do that in Unity. We do that in the world around us. So again, life is political. And if we believe that in our teachings that there's no real separation, then each of us is political in our own way. Some of us just express differently. Some people pray and they march. Some people pray and they contact their elected leaders about issues which are important to them. Some pray and give money to causes which they support. Some people do a little bit of all of that. And two things we can all do is pray and vote. We have the freedom to do that. I'm not going to tell you how to vote, and you don't tell me how to vote, but we have the freedom to vote, to have a voice, and that's important. Now, some of you might say, well, Danny, that's all fine and good, but in Unity, we teach that in the absolute realm, everything is perfect, that all this separation we're seeing is just temporary. Some would say it's an illusion. So why are you even talking about this stuff? So glad you asked. Here are my thoughts. First, we live in what Unity calls the relative realm. In other words, we live in the here and the now, not in the absolute. So while everything may be all hunky-dory and perfect and great in the absolute, we're not there yet. Each one of us has a part to play in the continued evolution of creation. Hinduism calls it living your dharma. And remember that fifth unity principle. It isn't enough to know truth. We have to live truth. So there is a being component and there is a doing component. So as much as we may want to, we can't just go into the silence, close the door, and meditate our way out of all of this. We can't just hope that when we come out of meditation and come out of the silence, that everything's going to be perfect. Life simply doesn't work that way. Again, I believe moving toward a more inclusive version of freedom starts with freeing our minds from the Bible. Book of Romans, chapter 12, verse 2 states, "Do not conform any longer to the pattern of this world, but be renewed by the transforming of your mind." And we could easily substitute the word paradigm for pattern here. So it all starts in here, in our minds, with what we might call paradigm shifts. So how do we make those shifts? We start by questioning some of our patterns. Think about it. As we grew up, our families and our communities instilled, or at least they tried to instill, certain values, certain thought patterns in us, right? Think about your childhood. Think about your adolescence, your families, the people you hung out with. And depending on our age, where we were raised, our socioeconomic status, our religious training, and so forth, our minds developed certain patterns of thought about groups of people, religion, money, life in general. And some of those patterns were quite beneficial too, right? Some of us were raised with a strong, or I would call healthy, respect for the value of money and hard work, the importance of doing your best, of respecting your fellow human beings, doing your best to be responsible for yourself and for your family. Fulfill your responsibilities. Do the job you were hired to do. And not only that, some of us were raised with the importance of sharing our gifts. You know, some of us may have had a little more money or a little more food or clothing or whatever than some of our neighbors. We were raised to share that. You know, help people out when we could help people out. Sometimes it was financial. Sometimes we helped people physically. Sometimes we helped out by just being a good friend, pouring a cup of coffee or your other favorite beverage, sitting down and listening to people. Some of us were taught to ask tough questions, not only of our government leaders, but of our religious leaders. Some of us were taught to question unhealthy family dynamics. You know, looking at some stuff going on, say, you know what, something's wrong. That is just not right. I don't want to go down that path. Some of us were taught to make our own decisions on a multitude of issues, personal, political, and spiritual, as we grew into adulthood. Others were taught a version of every person for themselves. My country, my political party, right or wrong. Our religion holds the real truth. And, you know, it really stinks to be the rest of you. I'm sorry, but y'all are going to burn in hell. Yeah. So, family issues, almost forgot. Some of us were taught we don't talk about that in our families, whatever that may be. And we didn't talk about it because we were afraid to upset the apple cart, right? I want you to think about that for a minute. Let's consider our own patterns for a minute. What were we raised with? What patterns? What paradigms? How many of those are helpful? And how many of those continue to be helpful to help you evolve into your best and highest self? Not all those patterns were bad. How many of those patterns have outlived their usefulness? How many apple carts are we willing to upset to free our minds? Answers? Oh, you have to figure that out for yourself, just as I have to figure it out for myself. You know, that whole thing the Bible calls working out our own salvation. We have the freedom to do that. But we do have some examples we can follow. In unity, Jesus is our master teacher, the one we call the great example and not the great exception. So what did Jesus do? Well, in the desert temptation story, I believe Jesus began freeing his mind. And after that experience, when he started living into his dharma, into his purpose, when he taught, he interpreted the teachings of his Jewish faith. He reinterpreted them. And while he did spend most of his time with people on the margins, Jesus also reached across the aisle, so to speak, and worked with people and taught with people and listened to people who were different, the rich, the famous, the politically and the religiously connected. Oh, and by the way, Jesus wasn't afraid to flip a few tables either. As Jesus lived out his purpose, as Jesus lived out his dharma, the example that he gave us encouraged other people to free their minds and to do the same. His example, I believe, frees us to free our minds and to do the same. Was it easy? Absolutely not. We know what happened to Jesus, right? We also know what happened to some of his disciples and closest followers. Some people lost their livelihoods, some lost their very lives. Our religious ancestors flipped a lot of tables. You know, it still isn't easy today. It isn't always, for example, easy being unity in Hall County, Georgia. It's not. Our very existence here for over 20 years on this property, our very existence is a political statement, whether you realize it or not. When you hired me in January to be your spiritual leader, you better believe you made a political statement. Just may not realize it, but you did. So what do we do with that? What is possible when we free our minds? For what option? I return to the 12th chapter of Romans. Do not conform any longer to the pattern of this world, but be renewed by the transforming of your mind. You know what the rest of that verse says? Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is. God's good, pleasing, and perfect will. Now, in unity, remember, we teach that God's will is the same for everyone. And that as we experience and manifest as much of the absolute good, of the Christ Spirit, of the Christ light, as we can at our current level of consciousness, as we continue to free our mind, through study and meditation and prayer, our consciousness grows. We raise the vibration. We do this by freeing our minds. And as we free our minds, as we stand in our truths, as we understand it or understand them, and as we engage peacefully with those who may not agree with us, I believe we start moving toward a bigger understanding. We start moving slowly but surely toward freedom for more and more and more. We are free to be who we are, and we allow and grant and teach the good news that others are free to be who they are as well. We begin to move from me to we. We move from us versus them to simply us, because you know what, folks? Us is all we got. So we might as well make the most of it. Amen? Or another way of looking at this, freeing your mind, is to take the advice of those theologians, the musical group In Vogue. They reminded us, free your mind, and the rest will follow. Free your mind and let it be. And so it is.
Help me release the things that no longer serve me. Help me release the things I no longer need. And I let go with a grateful heart. So help me release, and I'll let go. So help me release, and I'll let go.
So as we go into a time of meditation, I invite you to simply relax. Close your eyes if you're comfortable doing so, or hold a soft gaze. Feet flat on the floor, grounding into the earth. Feeling the energy of the earth rising up through you. Just breathe. Let go of the to-do list just for a minute. Breathe in deeply. Breathe in freedom. Let that move through you. Let it cleanse all those wouldas, shouldas, couldas. Release it. As we continue to breathe, I want you to envision for a moment something that you're holding on to, a pattern or a paradigm. Something that may have served you well at one point in your life, but now just doesn't feel right. It could be a belief, be an opinion about someone or something. And it just interrupts your vibration. It just lowers the vibration every time it comes into your mind. Just think about what would it be like to release that, to free myself. Breathe in. Breathe in your power of will and understanding. Allow it to move through you. Breathing out. As you continue to breathe, just envision applying that power of release, that power of will and understanding to this paradigm. Release it. Breathe in your power of strength. Let it move through you and flip that table. Now, don't you feel free? One more deep breath in. Deep, cleansing breath. One more time. Let that healing light and love that is you move through you, and then release and let it express as you. Hear this truth and allow it to set you even more free. You are free indeed. Free to be your best and your highest. Be that. Free your mind. And don't worry, the rest will follow. Amen.
Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers. Take charge of what you're saying. Seek a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that Spirit's always there. And every thought becomes a prayer.
Thank you, Don Necco, for that beautiful music. And thank you so much for sharing your gifts of music with us. You are so very much appreciated. And thank you, Reverend Danny, for that very powerful message. And like that song just said, we get to take charge of our thoughts and turn them into prayers. What a powerful message. Thank you so much. Well, next week, Reverend Jeannie Ward will be back with her message, and Deborah Lynn Rodriguez will return as our musician. That's always a very special treat. So mark your calendars. If you can, try to be here. I would like to invite you now to take this opportunity to share your monetary gifts and as well as your love and support through prayer for this church. You may use your smartphone to text to give or click on the donate button on our website, as well as the traditional ways of contributing your cash or checks. So please know that every gift is very important and very much appreciated. It's the energy of your love, prayers, and financial support will carry us forward and help Unity of Gainesville to make a difference in people's lives. So visualizing and holding our gifts over our hearts, let us set the intention for our giving as we say, divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I choose to give and all that I am open to receive. I give in love and receive in abundance. Thank you, God. I am so blessed. So, Don, I'll ask you to please give us some more of your beautiful music while we bring our gifts forward.
Together in song, our hearts are open as we sing along. Worries and cares seem to fade away when we come together in song. Hear our voices, together we're one tapestry, lifting our song to the heavens, we're singing in harmony. We raise our voices together in song. Our hearts are open as we sing along. Worries and cares seem to fade away when we come together in song. When we come together as one.
Now here we are, ready to bless these gifts that we have received. Dr. Rick is vacationing. He's not with us here today, but we will bless these gifts and hold him in prayer as he enjoys his time away. Let us bless these gifts, knowing that they come from love and gratitude to bring abundance to this community. in order to be of spiritual service according to divine will, and so it is. Guess what time it is? It's time for our announcements. Yay, announcements. Okay, as usual, if we have any first-time visitors with us in the church or virtually, welcome. I don't see anyone new here personally, but we really appreciate anybody coming, and we hope that you received a blessing through the message that was given today. And if you would like to visit, if you're new here and you'd like to learn more about Unity of Gainesville, you can probably find out about almost anything that you need about Unity or Unity of Gainesville on our website, unityofgainesville.org. And so thank you again for being here, new or not new. We have our building and grounds report. If we've been working really hard at cleaning up the web, and we've gotten it to the point that it's ready to be painted, and we want to make it a welcoming place for possibly having children reuse that building as the YFAM program can be reinstated as children begin to reappear. I'd also like to invite you to check out the poster that we took off the walls before we paint. It has some of our previous youth, and just take a glance over there and hold these youth in prayer as they continue on with their spiritual journey, and visualize new faces, new families coming back to use our facilities and to hear our message. So the next step is painting, and we do want to make a welcoming place for other groups to use and enjoy as well. It's a good money generating opportunity for other groups. We have Shalom Baharim and Atlantis Triangle, and we're looking for more groups who may be interested in using our web space on other days other than Sundays. So hold that in your vision as well, please. We're still going to have our Grounds Beautification Day on Saturday, July 9th, coming up shortly. It'll be from 9 a.m. to noonish. So we'll do what we can, hopefully, and if there's any need to change because of the weather, we'll announce that as the time approaches. Terry Kelly is heading up that team, and she's available for more information, or I can talk to you about things that we're working on or doing. So ask. We do need helpers for the picnic that's going to be taking place on September 10th. That's a Saturday. It'll take place if you make it take place. So, there are 3 sign-up sheets. One is for if you're just planning on coming, let us know so we can have a head count. And if you want to volunteer, you can indicate your intention there as well. There is a list of different tasks that we need people to do, so you can take a look at that. We have a menu, so if you just want to put your name next to the item that you would like to bring or contribute to, that would be wonderful. It's always been a fun time. People have always enjoyed it, so let's make that happen. Our leadership retreat is going to happen on Friday evening, July 22nd, beginning with a prayer and ceremony, opening service. And Unity of Greenville, South Carolina, is hosting this leadership retreat. And all the classes will be on Saturday, July 23rd. It's a free event, and it's open for everybody, mostly geared for board leaders or leadership positions, but you can check it out if you want. You have the freedom to think and choose. If you want to, you can go to www.ummas.org for more information. And then the UMass annual retreat is scheduled for the evening of Tuesday, September 20th through Friday morning, September 23rd. There's going to be great music, inspiring speakers, and informative workshops, plus plenty of free time to walk the grounds of beautiful Lake Junaluska, North Carolina. You might even be able to participate in a boat tour of the lake. So go to www.ummass.org to register, and there is a flyer on our greeters table if you want more information. A gentle reminder, the deadline to register is August 15th. So if you have any other questions or have any questions about these announcements or just want to know more about Unity of Gainesville, you can visit our website or call the church office. That's all of our announcements for now, so I invite everybody, as you're comfortable to do so, to stand and join us in saying the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us.
The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Now there is peace on earth, and it has begun with me. Now there is peace on earth, the peace that is meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Now we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Now peace begins with me, and this is a moment now. With every step I take, now this is my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Now there is peace on earth, and it has begun with me.
Okay, a quick note here. Right after our benediction, it's birthday month, so we're going to be singing happy birthday to the July birthdays. So don't run off, okay? Okay, we're going to have call and response today. So I want you to repeat after me and say it loud and say it proud. I am free.
I am free.
I am unlimited.
I am limited.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
And that is the truth that will set you free. Go out and be free. Be the light that you are meant to be in a world that seriously, seriously needs it. Engage, love, and be loved. And so it is.